I'm talking today to Tom from Delta Performance Group. Tom is a mentor at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and has been doing business coaching for many, many years. How many years, Tom?
Well, I've been in Orlando for 30 years. So you're talking after my business, when I started my business in 1980, oh my goodness, 1992. That's when I started my business. And and after that, I started the coaching business rolling after that. So you're talking a few years, yes.
You know you've been doing something for a long time when you've lost track of how long you've been doing it. We're going to talk leadership, organization, and growth. How do you reconcile that? Leadership, go.
Yes. Leadership is influence, nothing else, nothing less, nothing more. It is influence. It's not a position, right? You might have a position at work, say Mr. Manager, Tom, Mr. Manager, Mr. CEO. It doesn't mean that you're a leader, right? Leaders make the position, not the position. The position doesn't make the leader, right? And by influence, you believe it or not, you're influencing somebody sometime, somewhere. You have to understand that. People are watching you all the time. And the more responsibility you take, the more initiative you take, the more charismatic you are, people are going to be watching you and you're going to be influencing people, whether it's good or bad, right? So be careful of that. Leaders need to understand you influence, and if there's not manipulation, many people say, well, am I going to be manipulating people? I say, no. A good leader has other people doing whatever the leader needs to be done, right? And making them think that they love to do it.
And that is so important. You just mentioned making people believe, making people feel your team that they love what they're doing, that they come to work every day, right? Because the saying goes that if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. We're talking to Tom from Delta Performance Group. Phone number is 407-797-4243. This is the one-on-one show brought to you by the Delatory Law Firm. You can find us at delatorelaw.com. Also here on Facebook at Delatory Law Firm, and on LinkedIn, Delatory Law. You can reach Tom at deltasuccess.com, and we're talking log today. We're logging our time with Tom. The first point was leadership. We're moving on to the second point. The second point in logging our time, the second point is organization. So talk to us, Tom. What do we need to know, as those foreign investors come in here to help us recuperate in this economy? What do we need to know about setting up an organization, or even to deal with the current crisis right now, even for our people that are already here running businesses? What do we need to do in terms of organization?
Yes, and I think that's a great question, because what happens is once you have the vision, what exactly you want to accomplish in the future, and believe me, that might change. A lot of people are afraid of saying, well, this is what I want to be, but I don't want to say, yeah, just in case it doesn't happen. Hey, listen. Just say it, write it down, and start working. And if it changes, right? So the thing is, once you have that very clear, you have to start listing down the skills that are needed to accomplish those things. Believe it or not, in my business requires many skills that I don't have. Therefore, I have to look for people in that sphere of influence that might help me to accomplish those things, right? And I have to look out for those people that possess those skills and are willing to work in this type of environment. Therefore, I form an organization.
Now, you have some leadership, you have the organization. Now, the third thing that every business wants to do it. How do we grow? How do we grow as a business? Growth. So logging our time with Tom Martinez from Delta Performance Group. He's going to tell us, how do we grow, especially right now in times of Corona? How do we grow?
Yes, and growth, I say change is inevitable. I mean, change is going to happen. What pandemic is inevitable. If something's going to happen, challenges are going to happen all the time. There's nothing we can do to avoid those. Growth is optional. I mean, many things that are happening right now, I know a lot of people are not even reflecting or even thinking about what is happening right now and what they can learn from this. And that is a discipline. They need somebody to be with them and say, listen, what have you learned from this? And people say, oh, Tom, leave me alone. yeah, this is depressing. You say, okay, after you finish your pity party, tell me about, what
Right.
have you learned from this? Whether it's good or bad. I know it's bad. We already know it's bad, but we're still living. We still have to keep going, right? So,
but you mentioned it earlier in leadership, you have to have perspective, because yes, there's good and bad, but even from the bad that you learn.
yes,